Timestamps are in the description below. If you decide to click on one, it will take you to the news article of your choice. Hello everyone, Stephen Clark here, back with another news from all over Thailand and Southeast Asia. Well, let's see what we've got cooking today. Japan executes the first foreigner in years, or 10 years actually, a Chinese man who killed a family of 4. Second story, Chinese phone gangs using Thailand to hack into WeChat app. Not so nice a story, 4 dead, 47 injured in a Thailand bus crash. Fourth story, closure. 1,000 workers lose their job with no warning in Thailand. Fifth story, Thai reporter sentenced to jail for 2 years, libelling a chicken farm. You won't believe this one. About 80 Myanmar workers in Shanghai not paid for more than 6 months. Seventh story, Thailand's fake news and the tampon tax. It's upsetting the Prime Minister, really upset about it. And THANATHORN arrives at CROSSROADS, maybe military intervention in politics. Let us hope not. But first up, Japan executes the first foreigner in years, a Chinese man who killed a family of 4. Japan executes its first foreigner in 10 years, a Chinese man who murdered a Japanese family. Japan on Thursday executed a 40-year-old Chinese man convicted of the murder of a family of 4 in the country's first execution of a foreigner since the disclosure of details on sentencing carried out began in 2007, the Justice Ministry said. The Chinese man, Wei, had committed the murders in mid-2003 with 2 accomplices who were also Chinese nationals. The other 2 fled to China and were arrested there. One was executed in China in 2005, the other received a life sentence. Japan is one of 2 groups of 7 advanced nations to retain the death penalty, along with the United States and an overwhelming majority of the public favour it. Prisoners are hung in Japan. The condemned are not told when their execution will take place until the morning of the day the sentence is carried out. Some 120 prisoners are on death row. Last year, 15 were executed, the highest number for decades. Before 2007, the identity of those executed was not disclosed in data issued in capital punishments. Police have raided a hotel in Ratchada district, Bangkok, after being tipped off that a group of young Chinese were spending all their time in their rooms. Hotel staff became suspicious after they were calling room service for all their meals, never venturing outside and refusing the housekeeping staff to clean their rooms. 3 Chinese nationals aged between 23 and 25 were arrested. Officials also found 116 Chinese mobile phones and 119 SIM card packs. They had bought a large number of local Thai SIM cards and installed them into the Android-compatible phones manufactured in China that they brought with them into Thailand. Fake WeChat accounts are in high demand among online scammers and fraudsters in China, and the group was creating thousands of these fake accounts every day. Police said the Chinese hacking gang were using Thailand as a base to commit the crimes. They noticed it was a growing trend and that fake accounts and Thai SIM cards would be used for terrorism and other offences and tarnish the image of Thailand. Another tragic bus accident in Thailand. Just 2 days after 14 Singaporean tourists were injured in a tourist van crash, 4 people have been killed and at least 47 people injured, some seriously, after a tour bus from Buriram lost control during the night. Brake failure has been given as the reason for the accident. The bus that was carrying all the passengers turned over and ended up in a ditch and threw 4 passengers from the bus and rolling over and crushing them. The bus driver was only slightly injured, and he explained to the Thai media that he was driving the bus from LOEI back to Buriram in Thailand's far northeast when the brakes suddenly failed, causing him to lose control and veer off the road into a ditch. The injured were taken to a local hospital and police are doing further investigation of the incident. I really do hope they find out who's responsible for the bad brakes.
Employees of an automotive parts manufacturer company in Samut Sakhon province were laid off when they arrived for work one morning and the factory was closed. Workers at Pangpara Kodent Rubber Company told the media they had received no advance warning of the company's closure or any advance notice of employment termination. The announcement of the sudden closure was posted on the company's front gates with instructions for all employees to pick up their final pay packets by Thursday. For those who do not show up by then, the company will wire their money to their bank accounts. A provincial Labor officer who was at the company premises today explained their right to the workers and they can file a complaint with the provincial Labor officer or take their case to the Labor court if they feel they have been unfairly treated. Unfairly treated. Yeah. Some workers who appeared to accept the mass layoff returned home. Others who appeared unhappy refused to disperse as they discussed their next move amongst themselves. Workers had said the company celebrated its 50th anniversary only last year. Well, there's the workers' anniversary present. No warning and no work.
Shanghai. The Provincial Labor Office is conducting an inquiry after more than 40 Myanmar migrant workers at a banana plantation complained they had not received their wages for months. 45 workers rallied at a Labor office on Monday seeking help. They said many of them have not been paid for more than 6 months. A worker who asked not to be named said the plantation employed about 80 legally registered workers from Myanmar. The worker said he had been working at the plantation in Phaya Mangraya district for 3 years. The company had experienced financial problems since June when the late wage payment began, he said. Earlier this month, the plantation laid off several workers without giving any reason, the worker said. He said his employer owed him 27,500 baht in wages and his wife's 12,000 baht. He said he needed the money to pay for food and other necessities. The couple have been forced to buy things on credit, which is drying up as they can't pay off debt. At least 2 of the plantation shareholders are Chinese nationals. The inquiry found the business was struggling financially. One shareholder was in jail while another was sick, causing a liquidity crunch. The office ordered the firm to pay outstanding wages by January the 15th. Shanghai. The Provincial Labor Office is conducting an inquiry after more than 40 Myanmar migrant workers at a banana plantation complained they had not received their wages for months. 45 workers rallied at a Labor office on Monday seeking help. They said many of them have not been paid for more than 6 months. A worker who asked not to be named said the plantation employed about 80 legally registered workers from Myanmar. The worker said he had been working at the plantation in Phaya Mangraya district for 3 years. The company had experienced financial problems since June when the late wage payment began, he said. Earlier this month, the plantation laid off several workers without giving any reason, the worker said. He said his employer owed him 27,500 baht in wages and his wife's 12,000 baht. He said he needed the money to pay for food and other necessities. The couple have been forced to buy things on credit, which is drying up as they can't pay off debt. At least 2 of the plantation shareholders are Chinese nationals. The inquiry found the business was struggling financially. One shareholder was in jail while another was sick, causing a liquidity crunch. The office ordered the firm to pay outstanding wages by January the 15th. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha blows his cool about fake news about a tampon tax. The Prime Minister and Defence Minister has ordered the military to be more proactive in tackling fake news online. General Prayut has ordered the Defence Ministry, Directorates and the Armed Forces to increase monitoring and examination of fake news, step up its response to the distortion of facts with online media. General Prayat, the Prime Minister, ordered the agency to clarify fake news so that people do not fall prey to conflict. Meanwhile, we also have to take legal action against people who release such information, he said. There is no tax on tampons. General Prayat, the Prime Minister, the Premier and Defence Minister also urged the military's top brass to closely observe situations which he claimed are not quite peaceful. So you got it? There'll be no tax on tampons. There are rules on public gatherings designed to prevent registered parliamentary parties from using mob pressure to achieve political gains. Complaints are being contemplated against the Future Forward Party over this. The public is split over what it is now rest, while TAMPON choice, an election commission ruling against his loans to his own party. But the fledgling political camp on the brink and THANATHORN himself on the threshold of prolonged electoral ban, even jail. Clips of his earlier speeches went viral before, during and after Skywalk gathering last weekend. In them he vowed to only use Parliament to effect changes. Certainly the politicians of all the people who know full well what kind of risk is associated with street protests, whether they are spontaneous or well organised. But changing his stance on this should be the least of his concern. So most of his opponents and allies are no better off when it comes to alleged double dealings and standards. What should worry him is the question whether the Skywalk move would compound his and his party's legal misery. The protesters were holding placards and shouting chants, "Long live democracy, dictatorship, get out." Many also flashed the anti-junta three-finger salute. One thing seems easier to say. It looks increasingly impossible for him to cross back. He is destined to go down the path, with supporters blaming his opponents for it, and critics pointing out that he had it coming himself. Whatever the true cause, there is little surprise, except that the crossover is coming much sooner than anticipated. Although THANATHORN did not directly mention his loan case as a reason for the rally, political observers speculated that his call was made in response to the Electoral Commission's petition to the Constitutional Court to dissolve the party for violating elections laws by accepting 191 million baht loan from THANATHORN. If found guilty, THANATHORN and 14 other party executives could be banned from politics for at least 5 years. THANATHORN was disqualified as an MP in November for allegedly campaign financial violation, and the FFP, Future Forward Party, faces possible dissolution by the Constitutional Court. THANATHORN has called the accusations politically motivated. And next thing, you have a rally in the middle of Bangkok. And apparently a lot more and bigger to come.